So John, one final question, and maybe it's too much to ask and impossible question, but I was wondering, where do you see the future of new monasticism heading? I mean, obviously we can't predict the future, things happen differently from how we imagine sometimes, but in your view currently, where do you see things heading?
Well, that's a good question. I think the challenge is going to be the way in which new monasticism positions itself with regard to the church and the traditional monasticism. What I mean by that, I think it was yesterday I was looking on the internet and there's a new site popped up about new monasticism. And I was reading through some of the stuff that was written down, and I was quite disturbed to read some pieces on why monasticism doesn't fit, or traditional monasticism doesn't fit in anything. And basically it started was, well, number one, it's not in the Bible, and then it went through a list of reasons why, new monasticism's over and new's in, and that really scares me. That kind of attitude, enlightenment thinking again, let's cut ourselves off from everything and be new, really terrifies me. And there's other things coming up, like new monastic churches. That's just not what new monasticism is about. And to be honest, I think it sometimes comes from the other side of the Atlantic because, we're European and we have a history, we know our history, and we know the contributions monasticism's placed, contributed to our lives. On the other hand, new monasticism could easily get sucked into the church. I've noticed it's becoming a bit tame in places and getting tied up with some of the more glamorous aspects of monasticism, and that worries me too. There's got to be an edge to what God's doing in new monasticism.
What do you mean by tame?
Well, I mean tame. Thomas Merton said that there can never be an established monasticism, and there's got to be a relationship between traditional monasticism and the church, but new monasticism cannot be domesticated. I really believe it's been called into being to cheer the church on and say, look, we're in times that we're changing, in changing times. You're not heading for exile, but you are heading for a new exodus. It's time to leave behind the way in which we've compromised in terms of the paradigm thinking of the Enlightenment, the importance of the individual above everything else. It's time to have a new vision for humanity, an alternative vision. So I think that the key thing is where we position ourselves. And a few years ago, I went to what I would say was one of the first new monastic communities. It was in Ireland, and was started by a guy called Mike Cullen. And when I was there, I had a dream. It was a monastery in Ireland called Clonmaccoys. And in this dream I got up and I walked to Clonmaccoys from Clonfert, a bit of a distance, and I took a stone from Clonmaccoys and I carried it back with me, and I was going to take it to Northumbria. And what it said to me, and what it's communicated to me, that little dream ever since, that there has to be an element of traditional monasticism in new monasticism. We can't just sever ourselves from it. New monasticism has to be related to the church, a heartbeat of the church, calling the church to a new exodus, but at the same time not allowing ourselves to be domesticated. I fear when anybody uses anything to start saying bad things about the Bride of Christ. And the Bride of Christ to me is the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church in all her various expressions. Catholic, Protestant, house church, new churches, whatever. But that's the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. And that's who I definitely believe that God wants to restore.
And I've also, I think, heard you say that new monasticism isn't replacing old monasticism.
Oh, definitely
it's not in with the new and out of the old. It's a completely separate beast, if you like.
It's I would say it's a continuity, that there's certain things that make something monastic. We're going to discuss this inside. And you know, new monastic, we're not monks, we're not nuns, we don't pretend to be, well, one or two do, and I hope that we get out of it. But we're part of a tradition. And I certainly don't want to embarrass the lots of brothers and sisters I know who are religious by saying, hi, I'm New Monasticism, this is Monk John. You know, well, I'm not. I'm a father of four who's trying to live an alternative vision for a new society in Europe. And I'm not prepared to just say, okay, we're being de-Christianised, let's give in. Let's give some hope to a society that's going through big change.
So it's about, first of all, interacting with society. Then it's about interacting with old monasticism. And then it's about interacting with the church. It's not about divorcing ourselves from anything.
No, first it's responding to the call of God to be with Him, to know Him, to love Him, and to know and love Him in the midst of society. Bonhoeffer talks about, in the midst of our foes, in the midst of our friends, we stand with Christ, to be faithful to the church, and to honour the grand legacy of monasticism that helped to build modern Europe.
Okay, well, John, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Gareth.
Thank you for the interview.
Good, thank you. Hope to see you inside. Bye-bye.